this video we're going to talk about reloading with a handheld light in your hand and, basically the issues that you might have or whatever. And this is really more in the realm of talking about why, no one method is going to work for everybody, because it seems like I'm a little different. Number one, because I'm not just pulling out as something that's readily available. I have to cater to the circumstance and the storage method that I have. Typically, if you're going to be working with a handheld light, you're probably not going to be all tactical up with rigs that are open to where you can get the best grasp on the flashlight and the magazine, be able to seat it in the most convenient manner. However, there are ways to store in your belt line and stuff like that for concealed carry. Like appendix carry rigs have a really convenient magazine hold if that's what you're into. And you can get little things like Neo Mags or whatever for the pocket or something where it's easier to reach. However, I'm going to go over a couple of the different methods and what their application is in my own application. And this is just stuff that I learned and I practiced. And I'm going to go over my own application because I kind of had to adapt, and that's absolutely fine. And you need to find your own method. So anyways, the first one I'm going to go over is basically a reloading with the syringe hold on the flashlight. Now, of course, the syringe technique is basically where you're holding the light, with a two-handed grip, but it's kind of like this. I've heard it called the cigar hold or cigar method, because it's like you're smoking a cigar. And so you basically hold it like this, and you activate the light by pushing on the tail switch right here. So this was difficult for me. For most stream lights, they have a little bit too much of a guard, but that's a gear thing. But that's why I'm using a little bit of a bigger light. So this syringe method doesn't work with all lights or all lights and all people, because they might have an issue pushing it in. Strength-wise, it can take a little bit of strength and a lot of practice for some people, so just keep that in mind. However, for reloading out of something like a magazine, you actually have a pouch or a holder in your belt line or appendix rig. This actually can be very good, because the big thing is you want to get as much purchase on the magazine as possible. So if I'm just going to set this in here like I have a magazine holder or whatever. Basically, I'll just have it in here, and of course you want the base plate or the rounds to basically face inboard. For the most part, some people can do it outboard or whatever. But basically, if I'm using the syringe technique, or even going from the Harry's, the FBI, whatever, if I go from an ice pick grip, I can transition into a cigar grip, and then go into here and grasp with, my pinchers, my index and thumb, and exchange out the magazine. Not like exchange it out, but of course drop it. And I guess it doesn't hurt to make a little noise on video, but you basically grab it with your pinchers as high up as you can grasp it, and then, into the magazine, sit it in, and you have your thumb available for using the slide release, or, if you're going to be racking it, you have these two fingers to kind of release the slide. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up again with the magazine, but anyways, that's one of the methods. The other method is basically, let me go ahead and set this up again. Basically, it's using the ice pick grip, however, moving it a little bit. And these are just things I've taught. There's probably people that know 1,000 different methods, and so definitely seek out training. I like to have as many options as possible and try them out before I say yay or nay for me, because everybody's a little bit different. Not everybody can fit the same glove size, right? Hardly a one size fits all in things for the most part. So anyways, the next one is like having an ice pick grip. You may go from the syringe technique, and this is all based on your practice, your training, whatever you're able to do the fastest reload with. Because here's the thing, when you're out of rounds, that's a bad time to be. You want to minimize that. And in low light, juggling with a handheld light, you need to find a method that works really well. So the hardest way to do this would be going from the syringe technique. And basically what happens is bang, 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 and then you're out, the light comes off, and then you basically push this down like this so you can get your pinchers. And I would actually recommend having 3 fingers on it for a more secure hold. You might have some knurled ones or something with like Surefire lights that have the actual ring around it going all the way around, that you can do the syringe method or Surefire method or whatever a lot easier. And that would be where I would just basically have the pinky and the pinky underneath the ring, and then this one, the ring finger on top. So anyways, you basically grasp it like that, and then you go for your magazine. And what I like about this is you're actually able to index the magazine. However, the problem with indexing the magazine is, I don't know if you can see that there, but you're basically asking for an AD if it doesn't go right. So I'm able to actually hit this, and you know, basically it's probably best that you just grasp it with this so it's offset from the tail switch. The tail switch is basically protected, and you can put this finger underneath the magazine base plate. And what I found is that's the best way to do it to prevent from an AD or whatever. But if you have 3 fingers on it, then it works out a little bit better because the tail switch goes on the side at a diagonal angle, at least for me. And so basically the magazine, and then I'm able to roll onto my palm basically, so in there, and then secure it, thumb still available, and then just use your body. You can try to, you know, throw it up or whatever, but you hit the slide release, use your body, get it back into position, Harry's or whatever. And you know, if it's down like this, just use your body, get into the syringe method, and get back into doing your work. So those are the ways that I learned how to do it, and none of them really worked well for me because of the way that I store magazines when I'm carrying concealed. And if I'm carrying concealed, I don't really use any of those little magazine pouches or anything like that. So I basically pocket my magazines with the bullets pointing up or inwards as much as possible, because typically you have a triangular type inside of the pocket, and it basically is at a 45-degree angle however you have it, for the most part, depending on what you carry. So I'm just going to store this in my pocket. So say I'm going from an ice pick grip or a syringe grip. Basically I have to go to an ice pick grip, full contact, and all I do is lightly have my pinchers, and basically I reach into the pocket, grasp the magazine, and I'm able to actually index it because I can get a secure hold on it once I go in. The problem with using like the syringe technique is it gets caught in the pocket. It gets caught in trying to go into the pocket. You can't really reach in there without trying, like flipping it out. And if you don't have a secure hold, like you only have 3 fingers or whatever, all that extra is risking this part basically pushing against the pocket and pulling it out of your hand, especially if you're trying to go fast. So full contact is the best. And then of course I'm still able to index the magazine, and if you can see here, I'm actually near the side of the body, and I'm able to index the magazine pretty well. And then I'm still able to, once I secure it, I'm actually able to, you know, I go from here, and then I basically roll it, and I'm back on the pad, so I have full contact with the flashlight, still have the thumb available. And even so, if I need to basically rack the slide, I basically just go over the side here, use as much of my palm and my fingers to basically charge the slide into position. So if you're one of those that likes to rack the slide, I don't really think it's too efficient anymore. I used to, because I've actually missed it or whatever, or it takes more time. This is not really a fine motor skill. Even putting myself under stress, I found that even though I spent years doing this number, you know, charging it into battery, I found myself actually doing this because it was just faster. My fingers were already there, even on things like Glocks and stuff like that. But some pistols don't have slide releases or anything like that, so you got to be careful about that. It's obviously weapon dependent. So anyways, that's my method for reloading with a handheld light, big, small, or whatever. Probably not a mag light, probably not one of those huge mag lights. I'm not sure what you can do other than, you know, pocket it. Obviously, turning off the light is the first thing you'll want to do. It's like, oh, I got to reload. You don't want to sit there and be waving this around, you know, telegraphing your position. The best thing is basically if you're pointing at a threat, these lumens are going to white out, just like here on camera. You're whitening them out. And they're not really going to be able to see what's behind it. And once that goes off, it's going to be washed out for a bit. It's going to be some confusion. You're going to have some time. Of course, if you're carrying concealed or whatever as a civilian, you might need to watch if they're a threat anymore, if they just give up because they can't see and it scares them psychologically into stopping what they're doing. Of course, all that comes into play, but the general idea is basically turn off the light, don't telegraph your position, make it as smooth as possible, and I had to come up with my own way of doing that. Become fluid, practice slow, let speed happen, and you should be good to go. However you carry, try to work with it. You might need to make some small modifications, but you need to be able to be flexible when you're dealing with weapon-mounted lights, handheld lights, or whatever. Tactics are going to be everything. The method in which you employ it is going to be the most crucial. Gear can come into play with that, so we're going to have other videos. So anyways, thanks a lot for watching, and you guys have a good one. Get some training and practice often.